Hey, there you are. Happy Sensational Saturday, everybody. And I'm so glad that you are joining us today for part two of narcissism. What is it? What is it like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Oh, we're here to talk about it all today. But before I bring up my guest, who I had yesterday, I want to talk a little bit about why I'm here and what I do, why I do what I do. So, for those of you who had followed me, my name is Amy L. Bolding. I am an awareness coach, an author, and quite a few other things, but we'll stay with that for a minute. When I say awareness coach, some of you may say, well, what is awareness coach? Is it like life coach? Is it like a therapist? No. So, an awareness coach takes you to the point of where you need to be found again. So, the majority of my clients have endured some type of trauma and drama, pain, rejection, abuse, something in their life that has, it's kind of where they stopped their life and never were able to pick back up and carry on, but they've just drugged this hurt side of them along and kind of buried it under the rug and pretended that they could outgrow what it is that they have endured. So what I do is I bring more of you to you. So it's really not, I don't come bringing the answers. I come bringing the mirrors. I come bringing the truths. I come bringing the safety so that you can grow. Because as I mentioned in my book, Spilling the Tea, which is out on Amazon, it talks about a 5-step process and a technique that I use with my clients around the globe, which is to lean in on your life and remove the pain and the baggage and to live free. So it talks about a technique I use called tea therapy. Tea therapy is just what I said. It's a technique. It's a tangible way, a resource that actually gives you a step-by-step guide into purging some of what is up under that rug. As we talk about throwing stuff under the rug, I've said this before many times. People can get older, but they never grow up or grow out of their pain. It's common. We just keep going. Bills keep coming. Life keeps happening. We keep adding to our world. And so we just kind of forget that under all that, we have endured some things that have caused us to act and react in this character we are now based on our past experiences. I won't go too deep into that. But if you're the type of person that really wants something to help you get rid of some of that that's been nagging at you for years, or that voice that won't go away, or that memory that won't leave you alone, I encourage you to get on Amazon and order it now. Spilling the Tea. Get it. And what it'll do is, for those of you who say, I'm not going to go to traditional therapy, I don't want to talk to nobody. There's nothing wrong with me. Nobody would understand. They don't know what I've been through. I haven't even told my husband. I haven't even told my wife. I haven't even told my friends. Nobody knows. That's fine. Nobody still has to know. But here's the thing. You know. And you keep carrying it with you. And it affects more than you know in your life. Everything from your career to your finances to your relationships to your sleep patterns. Pain is an ugly thing, and it's very real. And what may be painful to one may not be so painful to another, but we can't deny our past experiences. Okay? So I hope today has brought you nothing but reasons to smile. And if it hasn't, you know how it goes. By the time you leave here today, you will have either laughed at me or with me, and I'm okay with both. For those of you who joined us yesterday, you know I brought on the one, the only Mr. Leon R. Walker. He is a author of a few books now, but this is the one we're talking about today, which is the 7 Loveless Traits. It talks about acquiring knowledge, understanding, clarity, and breaking free from narcissism. If you missed yesterday, I suggest you go back and watch, because it will give you, I kind of did the book backwards. And so I went into the resources that Leon has added into this book, everything from assessments to where to go, to what to do, what it looks like. Today, we're going to get into the juicy parts about what it's like being in a relationship with a narcissist. What is it like when they're laying in the bed next to you? What do they see? What do they think? And what do they feel? Go ahead, get your popcorn. I know this one's going to be interesting. But outside of being an author, I always thank him for his service, 32 years as a well-decorated naval veteran, Master Chief Leon Walker, who gave more than just his heart out there, but he also learned. The military did him some good, and he did the military some good as well. So we'll talk about that. Did his time in the military add to strengthening his narcissism traits? Ooh, we've got a lot to look into today. So without further ado, please welcome Mr. Leon R. Walker. Hi,
What's up,
Leon.
baby? How you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
I'm good. That was a great, I guess you call it an intro. I don't know, but it was a lot of great information. I like the way you do that. It was good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Showing them, bringing the mirror. That was pretty good too.
Yeah, bring in the mirror. That's what an awareness coach does. We kind of bring you to you. And that's usually what people are avoiding. They
Yeah,
want to keep talking about what they've been through. They want to keep talking about whatever, but they're like, I can hide behind all this. You know what I mean? And so then I can present myself, my representative, who I practice well because of my experiences, will bring them to the table, right?
right,
So
right.
I kind of, my clients say I poke the bear, which is true because I kind
Hmm.
of, we hide from ourselves a little bit. So we had a really good talk yesterday, and we
Yeah,
also had a good after session talk. And we had a talk today before we started about how people feel that they have a right to teach you how to be you. So let's talk about that for just a second. When you have a video out or when you are participating in a show, we did have some very good comments yesterday. And in fact, you guys bring the comments because I will go over them live. But you mentioned that sometimes you get messages in your inbox that aren't always so loving. Can you give us an example of what happens to somebody like you? Well, first, before I say that, you have over 15.3 thousand followers on Instagram, 284,000 on TikTok, 5,000 or more, because we now Facebook does it. That is a lot of eyes on you. That is a lot of, that's a lot. So what kind of stuff floats through your inbox?
I have to laugh because it's like one dude. So it's tough because now it's easier, but I read the comments. Not all of them. I can't read all of them, but one guy was like, I can't believe how many women follow this guy. This is a bad guy. This is a bad man. He's horrible. Why do y'all follow him? This guy is nothing. He's sick. And I just looked at his comment. I looked at his page and I said, I'm not going to say anything. The one dude was like, Leon, don't come on Facebook complaining. Leave your complaining to yourself. But he was complaining about me complaining, and I didn't say anything. Mm-hmm. One dude was like, I know what you're trying to do. This is supply for you, but I respect your hustle. Another lady was like, you can go to hell. You're still demonic, Leon. And then one lady was like, Leon, I hate you. And one lady was like, I can see it in your eyes. You're still demonic. Why are you hiding your face? It just goes on and on. It's like maybe I don't get a lot anymore. When I first started 2 years ago, it was pretty heavy.
Right.
One chick had nerve to say, this guy, Leon, is hanging out with other narcissistic men. They're going around here and they're abusing women. And I'm like, what? When people get upset, when they get hurt, or when I trigger them, which I don't do on purpose, they think irrationally. And so they start accusing me of doing things that I'm not doing. Could I get supply from this? Yeah. Do I want supply from this? No. If I was doing this years ago, I wouldn't be doing it because narcissistic people don't just go, hey, I'm a narcissist and this is what I did. You got to go through therapy, which I did. Then you got to sit outside of therapy, which I've done. You got to do your homework. You got to soul search. You got to be ready. Only reason why I'm doing this video is because my ex-girlfriend said, Leon, you should start doing videos on because she's in the medical field and she knows that I'm narcissist. She knows. And so I was like, I'm not doing videos, about Leon. I'm not doing that. We can keep it between you and I. It's like, no, big brother. She says she calls God my big brother. Like, your big brother is he's covering you. He's taking care of you. You cover Leon. But she was very, very spiritual, very spiritual. And so I said, all right. And so I started doing the videos and she freaked out because I gave her more than she knew about narcissism, little things that she's like, well, you just did that to me last week, Leon. I'm like, so here we go. So I just kept doing it. But the DMs were bloody, but now they're not so bad.
So let's talk about that. You've primarily stayed in the same area where you have come out about a lot of the narcissism things. I mean, were you ever concerned that you're going to run across somebody who might be like, you know what, it's going down?
Well, I have, but they didn't want to fight me. It was a woman. She's like, I see your videos, Leon. And she's like, it's very interesting because that's what you did to me, everything. And I'm like, and I didn't want to hear it, but I'm like, I had to hear it because I was at a baseball game when I saw her. Mm-hmm. And she walked up on me. She's like, yeah, okay, so you're doing videos, huh, Leon? And I'm looking down at her hands like she's about to go, And so I'm like, and here I go with my smile, my laugh. And she's like, yeah. So we talked. I hugged her, and it felt good to hug her because when she wanted the hugs, I wouldn't hug her. But then, and this was recently, I hugged her and we started laughing. She said, I'm going to comment on your video. I said, you can comment, please. don't say anything nice. So, I don't have nothing to say nice, but I'm not gonna be too mean. But I'm gonna let you know. I said, well, just do it. I'm not afraid of it because when I was with her, I denied a lot of stuff with her. I lied to her. I did. I treated her bad, and this is like a year before therapy. So 2013, 2012. And we were hot and heavy. And yeah, she was, no, it wasn't 13, it was 14. But yeah, I ran into her, but she was cool. Cause she's like, I still don't trust you because she said, it's interesting, it's pretty cool to hear you, but I don't know, Leon. So I'm like, all right, I know. But yeah, that comes too.
Let's talk about, you talked about how easy she basically was talking to you and the next minute she's hugging you. Now, that seems to be a treasure for a narcissist because it seems like the women you do wrong, you continue to do wrong and they want more. So let me ask you, the lady that you were with for 5 years and you rolled over and you said, I don't want this anymore. Mm-hmm. Were you faithful to her in those 5 years?
Nah, but the moment I told her that is because we were going overseas and I wanted to sleep with Asian women. I wanted to see what it was like. Okay. And so I'm a very promiscuous guy. And so I've had black women, I have white women, we were in San Diego, so I had Latin women too. Right. But I'm like, oh, we're going to Japan. So I want to possibly sleep with an Asian woman. So I could tell her I don't love her, I don't like her, be gone for 3 months, sleep with Asian women because I'm single in my mind, come back, apologize, make her feel like the Asian women weren't better than her and blah, 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 get her back. It didn't go like that because she was very spiritual. Mm-hmm. And I'm not laughing at her, but I'm laughing at the fact that I had the nerve to think that it would go that way, but it didn't.
Right.
When I came back, she had a boyfriend and I had never had a woman leave me since my mother. Right. And so that pain, my mother left me at 11. I was 25 at the time when she left me. It had been 14 years since a woman had never left me that I was dating. My mother left me, but not a woman that I was dating. Right. When I came back to San Diego, she had a dude and I lost my mind. And it terrified me because I was doing crazy things. And so I never want to go back to that mindset ever again. But she was able to do it because she was spiritual and she mistreated her, you know?
Now, but off the cuff of a narcissist, love your mug, by the way. Can you show us that one more time?
Oh yeah, this is a gift a long time ago.
Hey, Michelangelo's my favorite, by the way. But for a narcissist, they don't care if they get caught. We talked a little bit about this behind the scenes yesterday and why did you cheat? Let's go there. Why did you cheat?
Because I was always chasing this feeling that I got from my babysitter sexually. Mm-hmm. And I thought that all women had a high temperature, internal high temperature. Mm-hmm. And when she had sex with me, she was hot. Mm-hmm. And I was chasing that feeling because my cousins didn't have sex with me. They just kissed me and put their tongues in my mouth. So now I want to kiss every woman. I'm like, I kiss black women. I'm having sex with black women as a little kid. And I'm watching white women in porn. So I want to know how they kiss too. Mm-hmm. And I want to know how Latin women kiss too. So I became a kisser at 5 years old. And I came from my cousins and I started liking their lips and their tongue. I know that's graphic, but that's how it came. And then now my cousin, my babysitter takes my virginity at 8 and I'm watching porn. I'm seeing white women and I'm watching my mother's friends use the restroom when my mother had parties. So I'm looking through a little glory hole.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, from the book. Uh-huh.
So I'm looking at body parts of grown women. Mm-hmm. And so I was chasing this feeling. I was chasing a thought. I was chasing a vision all my life.
So it was a high.
Chasing a high. When I got with one woman and I conquered her mind and her body, I got bored. Narcissistic people get bored very quick. I did. And so it's like, okay, I got her. She's got nice breasts, nice butt. What about the skinny white chick over here? What does she have? How does she feel? Mm-hmm. And so my mind clicked. Okay, let's get this skinny white chick, and then let's go get this heavy set Latin woman, because I was chasing different sizes and different feelings, because I had different sizes and different feelings as a little boy. My one cousin was real heavy, but she had fat lips. So I had a heavy set black woman with fat lips. I want a skinny white woman with fat lips. So it's always looking for different textures, different body sizes. And so I was chasing. It never ended. It never ended.
So you didn't care that we had talked last night about how you really didn't care if you got caught. You would
Oh,
be with somebody, you go to the movies with somebody and be like publicly with somebody. And this is what I want women to catch, because we're going to go into why empaths are a good target for narcissists. But when we talk about, you didn't really care. We talked about how you could go out with somebody and then you would have the woman that you went out on feeling like it's because she lacks something as to why you had to go do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so empaths want to fix me.
Right.
They catch me cheating. They're like, okay, Leon, I know you have childhood issues. Yeah, I do, but I'm a cheater. I ain't nothing. I'm no good for you. So empaths want to fix, brother. Regardless of how much you hurt them, how often you hurt them, how long you hurt them, they still not gonna give up and quit. And I knew that. So I didn't care about getting caught, because if I got caught, it's like, well, I'm at the movies because you only want to go to movies at nighttime. I want to go to movies at daytime. She likes me. We're going to movies at daytime. She's easy. She's buying the hot dogs, which I was a spender. I'm not a selfish dude, but she was easy. The women that made it easy for me to like them longer. Now, the ones that made it hard, I might like you for 3 months. I might like you a little longer. But the ones that made it easy for me, the path, I call it the POLR, the path of least resistance. Those women made it easy for me. I'm going to be with her longer because there's no stress. There's no pushback, right? I could dominate her. She let me do what I want to do. I come and go as I please. That's why I was comfortable with women that had low self-esteem and no confidence, because they're going to look at me as this confident, strong, masculine man. And oh my God, Leon really likes me. No, Leon doesn't like you. He likes what you allow him to do to you, period.
I think we need to make sure some people just caught that, because there's a lot of women out there, because I have helped women who start out wanting to know why the guy doesn't want them. And it's very hard for me to turn them to understand that this is not a you thing. You need to go fix you so that you can see this, but this is a him thing. You're not going to fix him. He is who him is. Like, he is going to be who he is. So as a narcissist, why didn't you just break it off? It sounds like the narcissist kind of keeps things dragging so that way you can make that 2 a.m. phone call when Sophia or Janet wasn't available on their easy night or whatever. So you kept Donna's number. And these are all fake names, you guys. I'm just throwing this out here. You kept Donna's number so that you could call her, because one of the other ones. Why did you guys ever fully break up? And why drag them along? Is that so that you could have more numbers? Is that so that you have to feed the beast? You have to feed the addiction? Like, why not just break it off?
No, I ain't breaking it off because I wanted as many women as I could possibly have. Most women I dated one time were 5. And it was easy. And then what I did, I took it a step further. I told them about each one.
Wow. And that made them feel like you trusted them, I'm assuming?
That, and if they stayed, you stayed because you wanted to stay. You didn't leave.
The truth.
Yeah, right.
So you felt justified because you know the truth. Now, well, let's look at that, though. That can be seen as honesty. Like, okay, I knew that you're with me, but we're with we. Like, I have all these people with me. So you're either going to say, but I mean, is that mature dating? I mean, what's the deal? Telling each one that they were the one? Like,
that's immature dating, but it's also manipulating the truth. So I'm telling you the truth. I have other women, but I'm being manipulative because you like honesty. And you told me you like honesty. So you can say, what kind of honesty? So now I'm going to take the lead and say, well, my honesty is that I'm a cheater. Oh my God, Leon, you just told me you wanted me to be honest. So now I'm honest, and now you're trying to get away. That's not cool. So I make her feel guilty about leaving me because I was truthful and being a cheater.
I hope there's somebody out there picking up what you're putting down, because this is big right here. Let me ask you another thing is, we talked about why empaths are great bait for narcissists, but you mentioned that because narcissists want to help. Well, there are healed and unhealed versions of every type of person, right? Like, I mean, a lot of times people don't even know they're an empath. A lot of times people don't even really understand that they may be a narcissist. And I want to bring that to the table. Like you disclosed yesterday that there came a time where people were actually telling you, like, Leon, something's wrong with you. Like, you know.
Oh yeah.
So you didn't really know. You didn't wake up one day and say, you know what? I read the definition of narcissist and that's me. Like that was
No.
not your deal. It was people became your mirror, right?
Right. But when they told me, I get upset. But they were telling me the truth. So I know that he knows the truth, she knows the truth, she knows the truth, my boss, my buddy. But I would avoid them because I didn't want to hear the truth.
Right.
So, yeah. So it was like they told me, but I was like, so period. Get over it. I'm ranked number 1. What are you gonna do about that? So I was really cocky like that.
So now that we'll get into that in a minute, but here's a little sticky question. As a narcissist, when you were in your prime and you were playing, let's just say, it's almost like Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, right? You're like, I want the lips of this and the arms of this. And you were wanting to try, you were wanting your buffet of people, let's say. What did you see when you were laying in bed with them?
Nothing.
Wow.
Absolutely. Because I didn't allow myself to connect to her emotionally.
Right. So you saw the deer, you hunted it, brought it to bed, and it was already dead.
It was already dead. And a lot of times women like, Leon, did you enjoy it? I'm like, yeah, why? Because I was quiet in bed.
Why were you quiet in bed?
I was quiet because when I was a child, when they were molesting me, they would always tell me to shh, be quiet. And so I talk about that in therapy too. So I don't know why it stuck with me, like why I didn't open my mouth, why I didn't express myself, but I was never very expressive. I wasn't going to happen because that made me feel too vulnerable. So I wanted her to think that I'd enjoy sex with her, even though I did, but I didn't want her to know how much I enjoyed it because then I think she's going to use me for sex. And then I felt vulnerable and taken advantage of. That was a childhood thought of mine. I always thought people were going to take me, take advantage of me, kill me, take me away and to never return. So it was a big fear of mine. And so I have women tell me, Leon, you were having sex with your eyes open. I'm like, okay, whatever. So what? You know, I didn't want to hear it because I knew I never wanted to connect with a woman. I wanted to connect with her sexually to get what I wanted, but I didn't want to connect with her emotionally sexual. If that makes sense. It's like we're just having sex, but she wants to make love. I'm not going to make love to you. I know how, but I'm going to touch you like I'm making love to you. And that's why women like confused, like, we made love last night. I'm like, no, the hell we didn't. Don't even start talking, you know. So even though the act of love making was there, but the emotions weren't there. And so she thought I made love to her, and I told her it wasn't making love. It was just having sex. So don't get yourself wrapped up in me loving you because I'm not going to love you. I told women that.
And I'm still trying to wrap my head around to where this just sounds like a player and then a narcissist. So I need to find out the difference mentally, because I'm going, well, Leon, you sound like a lot of different situations I've heard of from friends or from when I was younger or from, you know, to where there's these guys who they're really using a lot of these women and girls, well, not girls, hopefully, but young ladies as practicing ground to perfect and modify their persona, their ego. Okay, what kind of love-making person am I going to be? What type of, so what is the difference between a dog and a narcissist?
Right. So there's no difference because they're both manipulative. They're both vindictive. They're both promiscuous. They're both running from love, affection, attention. They're both avoided lifestyle, lack empathy. Because if you're a player, you have to understand that one day you're going to have to meet somebody that you're going to get caught. And so she's going to say, well, Leon, how can you do this? Like, get over it. So some guys are players. And for me, I didn't care. Like I mentioned, I didn't care about getting caught. So lack of empathy was there. I don't understand how you feel. We just in a relationship. I'm just at the movies with her. What's the big deal? Right. And go to, you know, so I started trying to make my client, trying to clear myself up about why I got caught. But players, there's a similarity there because you have a voracious appetite. You have a variety. You need admiration from many people. Right? Players have that grandiose type of mindset. Oh, I got all of these women, I got all these girls. Look at me, look what I'm doing.
Right.
So there's not much of a difference. I don't think it's much of a difference at all because they don't have empathy. They're not trying to fall in love with one person, so they spread themselves thin amongst many. So I don't think it's but as that player, I was doing it because of my childhood dysfunctions, my abuse and neglect. This guy's a player because maybe he was groomed to be a pimp. I don't know. It could be.
So, and that takes me to understanding the different phases of a young man. I know that there's people who will tell young men, like, you need to go play for a while before you decide to get serious. You need to go figure out who you are. You need to go find out what type of woman you want. So does it become narcissism and dog-like when it gets past a certain age? Like, is there supposed to be this unannounced cutoff? Like, hey, if you're still doing doggish things at 35, then now you might be a narcissist. Like, is there this cutoff? Because I think about young men. I have amazing 3 young men, and I look at them and I remember my hope for them was I didn't want them to fall into that, I didn't want them to be dogs, and I didn't want them to fall into like, I'm gonna meet the very first person when I'm 15 and that's who I'm gonna be with for life. Because through life we find out that we change multiple times and our desires change, but through relationships we grow, and through relationships we either grow forward or we grow backward or we're stagnant. And so is there a cutoff where, hey, this young man who was doing his thing at 19 to 20 something, playing ball in college and doing this, when does he become the dog? I mean, is he just the dog because somebody's feelings got hurt? Because I mean, that would mean that there's a lot of women dogs too.
So it depends on the mindset, how he was groomed, how he was developed, what he saw, what he thinks, what he feels, what he wants, what he needs, what he desires. I desired women at an early age, so it's going to be hard for me to not desire them later on in life, whether I was a Christian, Buddhist, whatever. Again, narcissism starts in your childhood, whether neglect, abuse, what you see, how you've been treated, left behind, kicked to the curb, doubted, bullied, all of that. And so mine started so young, close to where my personality was still developing. I developed a sense of narcissism during that development. So some people weren't molested, weren't bullied, didn't lose their home, parents didn't get divorced. So they saw love, they saw unity, they saw a home instead of a house. They weren't sent to orphanages, they weren't sent to false security. So me, I'm all about this narcissism. This is who I am. This is who you created me, my uncle created me, my brother, my cousin, my babysitter, my parents divorced. So if a child doesn't have any of that, they're gonna be probably an empath or understanding person or somebody that's monogamous. I didn't have any monogamous traits. Everything I dealt with was from a promiscuous mindset. From an independent mindset. My parents got divorced, and now, boom, I'm 11 years old. I shouldn't know about divorce at 11 years old. So not only do I know about divorce, I know about, my father was verbally abusive. Oh, my grandfather's verbally abusive. Oh, we're going to court. I'm 11 years old. I got a white judge yelling at me. So I'm developing all of these traits. Then I become angry. Then I become independent. Then I become lost. Then I become hurtful. Then I become vindictive. So I'm going to become a narcissist, whether you like it or not. Whether I try to see something different in myself or not. I become used to now adjusting to being overbearing, promiscuous, not loving, not caring, not cuddling, not holding hands. I was absent of all of that. And so, people are developed and groomed knowingly, unknowingly. Then they become who? Then I join the military. Now I'm exposed to more women. Not only that, but I'm exposed. I'm in the military, and I could become a totally different person. Nobody even knows. Right? So who knows that besides the other men around me that are just like me? Broken, cheaters, dysfunctional, fighters, liars, deceivers, gaslighters, silent treatment guys. So when do I have time to grow and develop into a good-natured man? It ain't gonna happen. You know why it ain't gonna happen? Because I don't like it. Because being good-natured was boring to me. How can I be good-natured if we pull into Thailand and I got $3,000 in my pocket? I'm 19 years old. And they shipping women in, beautiful women.
Mm-hmm.
What am I supposed to do? Nah, we going over here to the Christian Science room and read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not built on the Bible. I didn't believe in God. There was nothing spiritual about me back then. So why should I go read the Bible, dude? You got all these hookers over here, and I got $2,000 in my pocket. You think I'm gonna go talk about Jesus Christ?
Right. And
I was with a smile on my face. I told people, man, don't pray for me. I'm going to drink some liquor and go get me some hookers, and I'm gonna be good, dog. Leave me alone.
You sure mentioned that in the book. You mentioned how when you would come to the port and you guys would get off, that you had this, you call them country, this country guy, and he would come and you guys would do, not guy, I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I forgot what level he was or whatever, this, if he was a sergeant or anyway, and he would pray with you guys and you would actually be like, okay, well that's cool, but like not it. Like,
yeah, he was like, he would be like, come on, Walker, get over here. We're gonna huddle up. I'm like, and all I could hear was, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us our daily bread. And I was like, oh, just get the prayer over with, man. We got hookers waiting on us. And yeah, I'll be sitting up against the wall like,
yeah. So that's what we want to talk about right now. Is it's almost like you were brought up in the last X amount of years. I won't say their whole 32 years were probably with you being in your situation, but a lot of those years you were actually in the playground of your own addiction. Like you were literally being hand-fed opportunities to ignite this narcissistic part of you.
Every single hour.
Right. When you would be out away, if you would be, I don't know if there's a lot of co-ed stuff going on, but I also know that there are women who want to cling to bad boys and want to cling to those who are, they know they have a bad side. Did you ever get inundated with women who are like, I already know who you are, I know what you're about, just take me?
I get it now. At 58, I'll be 58 in a few months. I get it now. I have women tell me, Leon, you activated my freaky side. And I was like, so if I wasn't trying to help people, if I didn't go through therapy, I didn't want to help myself. If I was making these videos, it would be fake. I would call her up and sleep with her. Mm-hmm. It's 98% of my listeners, I don't like to call them followers, are women. So I get it now. And it's like, you activated my freaky side. You opened up my eyes and my vagina. And these women are 25 years old. I mean, they're not 35, 40, 45, 50. These women are 25, 30. So yeah, that's why it's dangerous to be doing this if I wasn't ready to really heal and didn't want to connect with my promiscuous side. I don't want to connect with that part of me. I've done it for years. I know what it leads to. It's not fun. It was fun because I really got off on driving a woman crazy. Like you mentioned, I pushing their crazy button and hitting their crazy spot. I aim to do that, and I like doing it, like ED, but not anymore because I'm fearful of God. I'm fearful of hurting people. I'm fearful of failing, this journey, because the women that put me on this journey are very close to God, and so I have an assignment that I can't fail. And I told the lady today just hit me up a message. It was called me demonic, and she kind of went off, but I told her this is my assignment, so you're wrong. I didn't get upset with her, but I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't have any demonic spirit in me anymore, because I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to live like that. I'm afraid. Before, I had a lot of nerve, a lot of courage. Like I always say, I didn't care about getting caught. I'm gonna talk my way out of it. I'm gonna grab her. I'm gonna kiss her. I'm gonna say I'm sorry. I'm gonna make her hug me and smell me, and we're gonna go eat her favorite sandwich, a deli spot, whatever. Or we'll go buy her a Tiffany bracelet. What the hell? What do you need? So yeah, I knew. Whether you call it charming, vindictive, manipulative, whatever you want to call it, I was all about that to keep her.
Now, in your book, you also mentioned the years of singleness, right? The no dating, the singleness. Why did you do that?
My therapist told me to, and when she told me to, I was like, nah. I was like, no. I got to be around women. I love women. I got to touch them. I got to smell them. I got to kiss them. But all I was doing was meeting a woman and then taking my issues to her life and then to the next woman. I never gave myself a break for, I don't know, my whole life. My first girlfriend was in 1984 and we broke up. My second girlfriend was from 86 to 91. And that's the one that I stalked. And then from 91 until 94, 95 was a whore in Cleveland as a recruiter. Then I got married, stayed married for 12 years, broke that up, and then got into another relationship for 6 years. So it was just going from one woman to the next, the next, the next. I wasn't fixing myself. I wasn't studying myself. I wasn't listening to anybody. And I was just hurting people. And she told me, you need to stop dating Leon because you just destroy these women's life.
So for somebody who may be, and I think we talked about this lightly yesterday, I don't know, is there such thing as a recovered narcissist or a no longer narcissist? Or what do you do? Is it like AA where you're like, my name is Leon and I'm a narcissist? I mean,
right. That's what it is, because the disorder doesn't just go away. It doesn't wash away. There's no medicine for it. It's talk therapy so you understand, oh, this is why I did that. Oh, this is why, because there were a lot of women like, you don't even, there's no reciprocity with you. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I just, but I didn't understand the emotional stuff that I wasn't returning back to these women. And when they would tell me, I would get upset. And I'd start arguing, I'd leave, go drink, smoke, watch porn or something. Then come back and it'd be over with. Just because you said it don't mean it's going to linger on. Just because I'm wrong don't mean I'm going to stay wrong. Now I'm going to stay wrong because I don't think that I'm wrong. You're wrong, but the reciprocity wasn't there. And so I didn't know how to give back on an emotional level. I didn't even realize that I wasn't doing it. I thought, well, we just had sex. You should be okay. But you got up and rolled over and went to sleep. Or you went to drink a beer. You watching ESPN. I wanted to hug. I wanted to cuddle. I'm like, nah. It was all about me. Sexually, it was all about me. I knew what to do, right? I knew how to touch and kiss and all this stuff. But then you're going to get a strong 18 minutes out of me after that. Which wasn't fair. So I was a very unfair dude.
Okay. All right. So can you trust yourself in a relationship? Where are you with that?
Yeah. So I don't want like to share women, which I was doing. And they didn't know that they were sharing me with another woman. I don't want that. I don't want to have to look over my shoulder and peep out the window and see who's knocking on the door or see who's in the parking lot. I lived that life. And I didn't care about that life. I didn't care when I was living life. Now I don't want it. A lot of times I blame women for something that I was going to do anyway. That projection. I made myself believe that she was going to cheat. She was going to flirt with somebody, so I'm going to do it. And when it happens, I'm going to be able to pull away because she pushed me away. I didn't pull away. But she never did it. I thought that she was going to do it. And then my inactions made her have reactions to me for not doing what I was supposed to do. But I was making her think that she wasn't doing what she's supposed to do. So it was just projection. It's very manipulative. But the things that I created in my mind weren't happening.
You were creating scenarios. So back in the day, we call it a guilt trip. So you put a guilt trip on somebody.
Yeah.
So you would basically create these scenarios in your head about this person. Well, first of all, let's just say that's familiar in a lot of people. So I have clients or I have whatever, they're like, and I always tell them, don't chase the what if, don't go creating scenarios that don't belong there. So you're telling me that a narcissist is a professional screenwriter in their head about things that are going to happen. So they justify their malice intent.
Oh yeah. Because it's done before it's actually done. And then what I'm going to do is going to make you react to what I'm doing negative. But now you're acting negative, and I don't think that I'm doing negative. So in my mind, you're acting based on something you did, not something I did.
So you're highly intelligent. And now that you're not narcissism around, what do you do with all that extra energy? Where are you creating it? Is it going into your TikTok? Where's that guy going?
Videos, more books, being grateful that I can talk about it now. So I don't take it in as like this thing that I developed about me, a different Leon. I don't look at it. That's what it is, but I don't take it on board as like to stroke my ego. Like, wow, look at what I'm doing now. But I appreciate it, and it's a gift that was extended to me. I had it all along, but I wasn't using it. But I was being malicious, so God wasn't going to allow me to use this to help people because I wasn't ready. And so a woman said, "You need to start doing it." So I'm doing it, but I look at it now as I put my energy and focus into thinking about how to help people, deal with Leons. That's why I say, hey, you got a Leon in your life. And women are like, oh, don't say that, Leon. That's not, you'll never get over it. Don't keep calling people Leon. They're Leons, period. What you want me to call them? Narcissists? But the energy I have now is to deliver, whether people say it's a sermon, it's a ministry. I like helping people. And it doesn't feel like work, like I mentioned yesterday. It's something that I can extend to people because I suppressed it for so many years, and now I have to give it back. I owe a debt to society, period.
Do you think that is a part of a little bit of self-sabotage because you felt like you were so wrong for what you did? Now you have to your whole life go correct and rectify and whatever. Do you think it's a healthy thing for you to do?
Right. No. So the self-sabotage is what I was doing before this.
Was the narcissism.
Right.
Okay. So you talk about you have a gift. What part of you are you talking about with this gift?
So my ability to be vulnerable and transparent and not get angry when somebody calls me out. Like, you son of a, I saw your video, Leah. I know. And now I can say, hey, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. It wasn't to trigger you. It wasn't to hurt your feelings. This is who I was. And I didn't tell anybody this 30 years ago. Right. So you just so happen to be on social media 30 years past, 30 years from when I first got diagnosed, whatever it was. You just now see me and you have to be a part of it. You don't have to be a part of it, but you saw my video. So you are a part of my transparency and being vulnerable. This is lighten me up, it lighten my load, it lighten my mindset. It gives me a lot of clarity, even more than I had in therapy.
Okay.
So this is strength. Being weak is hiding things from people. Not being strong to suppress it. It's being weak when you suppress that.
So are you still going to, because we talked about yesterday how your medical record said that you were going to be an indefinite client, an indefinite, case.
Client, yeah.
Yes. So are you still going to therapy?
No, I can go back whenever I want, because with us, it's like you just check in, you call the 988 number. Although I'm not suicidal, that'll take you through the process to get to a psychiatrist, a psychotherapist. But I have psychologists and therapists and psychiatrists reach out to me now. Some ask to use my videos for their clients. One lady's like, I don't think he's changed. I'm like, that's fine, doc. I get it, but I have. You don't see me daily. You see a video, a 3-minute video, once or twice, 3 times a week. You don't see how I act or interact with people. You don't see how I interact with my kids. And so it's like psychologists have asked to borrow my videos. And I've been interviewed by therapists and they're like, man, wow. So I don't hold back, but yeah, I can go back anytime I want to, but I'm fine right now.
So being as that you're always going to be, which I have such a hard time with that, being as that you'll always be a narcissist, because I'm me and labels, we just don't really, we're not on the same side of the fence. So it's really hard. And I mentioned this yesterday, once you label me, you negate me. And I feel like if we keep repeating where we've been, we're not going to be able to progress as strongly into where we're going, because we're always reminding ourselves that this is who we are. Mm-hmm. I know for me, I used to be my story, but now what I am is the product of my story. And I think that you have to jump outside of, because if people see me 10 years ago, 5 years ago, definitely 20 years ago, they'd be like, that's not the same person. And so I only share my story when I need to, either as a qualifier, because sometimes people go, oh, what can you know? How could you know what hard times are like? How can you know what abuse is like? And so then I go into, okay, this is me. So I guess my thing is with you saying that, hey, I'm going to be a narcissist forever, and I'm not going to therapy right now. Like, how does Leon stay balanced from Leon and Leon? Like, how do you nurture yourself to make sure that you're not tiptoeing back into the muddy water?
Yeah. So these videos are therapy for me, like talking to you, the interviews. Okay. Rather I'm doing an interview or not, I'm still doing a video daily. And so it's like something I have to relive and think about. I put the video together and boom, then I got to go say, hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey man, what the hell you mean about your last video? You know, I gotta address that. So this is more than therapy because this is daily. Therapy was weekly, once a month, and sometimes I would go back. I'm sorry, 4 times a month, but sometimes I would go back in that week. Like I would go back in, but this is more than therapy because I'm not. It's not that I'm talking to psychotherapists every day or psychiatrists every day, but I'm talking to people every day, the ones that I hurt or ones that are familiar with what I did to somebody that I used to date. So it's always a constant reminder of me, doing these videos or interviews or responding. I gotta face it. I can't. I ran from it all my life. Nobody knew. I ain't telling anybody, until boom, 2 years ago, and now it's like, oh, because narcissistic people, we run, we hide, we cover up, we act, and then when I'm out like that, it's like you can't run anymore because people like, I've been looking for somebody like you. You know what I'm saying? You like my ex-husband, you like my uncle, you like my father. And so instead of saying, flipping them off or going off, I let them get it out. I talk to them. Because now I got to face what I put out there years ago.
So in loving a narcissist, pre-treatment, I guess you would say it, or pre-admission of like, hey, I've done this, I'm doing this, I'm healing. What are they like as lovers? Do they hold your hand? Do they walk with you? Do they talk with you? Do they lay with you? Do they send you notes? Do they send you flowers? Tell me how a narcissist loves so somebody out there can kind of see what it's like when they were loving a Leon.
Love bombing. I was a dude that could create a weekend like a son of a gun. I had amazing weekends with women. I mean, I would do all kind of stuff that they never done before. That's why I tell women, be careful what you tell a guy because he's going to emulate that. He's going to do it. At least I did. But the love bombing in the beginning, it's going to be chivalry, opening doors, pulling out chairs, taking your coat off, putting your coat on, running his hands to your hair, kissing your forehead, kissing you, eye contact, cuddling, watching your favorite movie. That ain't going to last long.
And then what happens?
They fall off. Then they start to get upset.
About?
They start to become irritated about you wanting more affection and showing more love and being grateful and appreciative and respectful and holding hands and not walking in front of me, Leon. You know how many times I had taken women to this one was like, well, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, what you talking about, girl? We get to the restaurant and get out the car. I'm gone. I'm in the restaurant. And she's like, Leon, can you help me cross the street? And I'm looking back like, oh, my bad.
But your representative prior to that time was chivalrous. He was a gentleman. He was a lover. Is that before you got the buns, or is that after you got the buns?
That was before you get the buns to get the buns.
Okay, so once you got the buns, it was like, okay, and you were so confident. So you, as a narcissist, you were very confident in your lovemaking. I'm assuming.
Yeah, and so what happens is women, they start falling in love with your potential because they go, well, Leon, for 3 months you did this, this, and this, and then now I shut it down on purpose because I wasn't really wanting to do that. I did it just to lure you in.
Or you did your big, so you basically went in, you knew the show you wanted to play.
Yeah.
You said, I want to walk in, I'm going to be all the man she's ever dreamed of. She's told me what she's like. Women, you guys got to stop this. But anyway, she's told me all that I need to know so that I can get in the buns. Once I get in the buns, like I pretty much, my assignment's over. I need to go find somebody else.
That, and then they will hold on because they're like, damn it, for 3 months, he was so amazing. I was married for 5 years. My husband never kissed the back of my neck. I'm like, don't tell me that because that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to kiss the back of your neck. I'm going to lightly bite it, But yeah, I'm going to do more because I know in 3 months, I'm going to get more with you. And so what happens is she'll spend the next year or 2 years trying to get me to be the Leon I was those first 3 months.
That's right.
It's not going to happen because you know why? I don't have to do it anymore. I got you.
You did it. So then you get these women that go, okay, but how long? Okay, I'll ask a question. First of all, let me read this comment that came up. The level of transparency, humility, openness, and willingness to share the good, bad, and ugly is amazing. You're very much walking in strength and honor. Thank you for sharing and keep it up. So, I mean, again, it's a part of the good part of why, even though it's hard and even though you get judged, it's important to continue to share your walk with this forever continuum of getting better through
Hmm.
being a narcissist, right?
Hmm.
Um, oh gosh, I forgot what I was gonna say about the other part. But so you basically would, so there's these women out here who go, I don't really care that when I'm sexual with these people, which on an average person who doesn't have narcissistic personality, maybe that comes natural. And we talked about that a little bit last night too, about how do you know when it's safe to really love somebody and give yourself up? Is there really such a thing, especially at a certain age in the game? So you were doing your doggiest days in what years? How old are you? Your doggiest days, like what age?
19 to 46.
Whoa, that was a long run. That was a long run,
That's
Leon.
why it's so hard for people like me to change, because even now, Amy, I get people, women flirt with me, women want to buy me gifts. At almost 58 years old,
Mhm.
if I wanted to start doing it again and get on social media and say, hey, look, y'all, tomorrow I'm going back to being a whore,
Okay.
right? I could do
Mhm.
that and not care, because guess what? I'm going to have women that wants me to be a whore.
All over the place, right?
Brazil, Australia, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
They'll go, wow, you're honest.
Mhm.
And guess what? You know what? Women are not being touched like that. Women are not being kissed.
Right.
I show up, hey, look, I'm narcissistic as hell, but come here, girl, and start kissing her. What is she gonna do? I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to be inappropriate. I don't even want a bunch of bodies anymore. I'm just saying it's possible.
So here's, I think, where I feel um a little bit like, okay, is it really your fault or is it really a woman's fault? And I'm not saying for your narcissism. I'm saying a lot of times women are not where they need to be within themselves as far as self-love and as far as healing, something that they may have gone through or becoming, which we know becoming is greater than being, or even in their own truth in saying, I must be broken as I don't know what to keep being addicted to his brokenness, because there's got to be some red flags that are screaming while loving you. And so it's like, is it truly the narcissist's fault? Or is it that
Yeah,
there's
it can be, because I was very manipulative, and some women like certain red flags. I tell you, I met some women specifically years ago. A woman was the underwriter and the manager of a large bank, and she had 2 degrees. She had 2 master's degrees. Highly intelligent, but she was her street cred was really low. So I ran circles around her, and
mm,
she was giving me Visa cards, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. I was 25 years old. As educated as she went to a private school. Both parents still married. She had made a lot of money. She had a great house, great car, and great dogs and stuff like that. She was still attracted to edgy, dysfunctional, narcissistic Leon.
mhm.
So, yes, it's my fault, because I didn't say, hey, I'm a narcissist. Should she have some fault in it? A little bit, but I can't put that on. That'd be very distasteful to put that on women and say it's their fault. I would.
Mhm.
I did that. I said that. Yes, it's your fault because you knew I was broken. Right. You right. I did say that. Yeah. It was her fault. I said that
Mhm.
because you know I'm broken. You know I'm dysfunctional. You know I'm narcissistic. But you stayed with me. It's
Right.
your fault. And guess
Mhm.
what? Now that you know I have other women, you staying with me. It's still your fault. I'm not gonna change. Well, Leon, can you go through therapy? Okay, I go through therapy, but I'm still gonna have 3 girlfriends while I'm in therapy. But I didn't go to therapy then. I went in my 40s. So
Mhm.
it was very dangerous for me to say it was her fault, because I was deflecting. I wasn't taking responsibility.
But I'm even talking about now that you're in the place where you are, you still have these women who, like we just said, they're very transparent and they go, look, I want to meet the devil in you.
They
Why is
well,
that? Women are out here broken just the same as men. Like, I guess what I'm saying is that there is a very big need for self-awareness and for self-love, because more than ever we are sabotaging ourselves based off of social media, going, okay, I don't have as many followers, I don't have as many likes, my picture's not like that, my body's not like that. So women are just going down this funnel of like unworthiness. And men as well, men are going, okay, well, if she don't want to take care of me, right? So it's kind of is it creating narcissism worldwide? Like, is the guy going, well, Shelly won't take care of me, Tammy will, because I spend that 90% of my life over here where I hate, and that 10% over in the pudding where we get to talk online and pretend these
but
lives
that feels
online,
better to
whatever.
them, though. That's
How,
better. That 10% is a better feeling.
but that's what I'm saying. So the 10% becomes the 90%.
Right.
So now we have all people chasing pleasures that are at a click away. Like,
Yeah.
are we creating some form of narcissism with this?
Yeah, big time. Because I'm already there, narcissistic or not. And then people, I think people want to be narcissistic. I really believe that. There's a certain group of people that want that title because it's trending, it's popular, and guess what? People are attracted to it. Men are attracted to narcissistic women. I talk to men now that are dealing with narcissistic women, and I tell them exactly what she's going to do, and she does it because she's a Leon. I call her Leona.
Right. I've heard you say that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm strong enough not to deal with those type of women. I'm not saying that he's not strong enough, but he doesn't have that the ability, that discernment, which he can't. He has it, but he doesn't activate it because he wants to be with her sexually, even though she treats him like trash. She invites him over, they have sex, and she kicks him out. That 10%.
But isn't Leona almost some men's dream? Because you come in, you tax it, and you get rid of it, right? Because some men don't want to deal with the heaviness of a relationship.
But there's nothing like a woman discarding a man. He can't handle that. Hell no, he don't. Then he go in the parking lot and watch another dude go in her apartment when he just left. Yeah, they say it's ideal to have a friends with benefits, but narcissistic people, let's talk about narcissistic women, are very sexual and seductive, just like men.
Okay.
You're gonna put it on you. You mean to tell me you okay with that? You leave and you see another dude coming in. Man can't tell me that.
No, this is all new to me, period. But I just keep thinking, there's those guys out there who are like, I don't want no relationship. I just want to kick it. I just want to do whatever. I want to have fun.
But Amy, until it happens to them, they do women like that.
Oh, that's
good. Like, yeah, let's just kick it. Until she tells him, I just want to kick it. I want to have sex once a week, and then, you don't have to call me after that. Men, we get emotional. That's a blow to our ego. Because I go in there thinking like, I'm well endowed, I know how to massage, I know how to do all these things, and you telling me you only want me once a week? Well, my ex-wife wanted me every day, 4 times a day. Why are you so different? Oh, I don't need you like that. He don't want to hear that. I know for a fact.
So then could that be a part of the reason maybe the man or the woman plays games like that? Because they want to see if they generally are wanted by the one that they want. They say, well, let me see if I can have a fish in the sea.
Yeah, but when it gets real, when it's reality, when it's like she keeps doing that to him over and over again, he ain't gonna like it. I know men that's going through that right now. I have women crawling after them. Good-looking men, successful men, in shape. Women are over them, but they want this one that don't want them.
Yeah, that seems to be the story of the generations, right? It's funny because the ones that want you don't want, and the ones, I've heard that story go on through the generations. One might have been like, oh yeah, nobody wanted the nerdy kids until they got in their 40s, and nobody wanted the bad kids when they got in their 40s, because they're the same bad kid that they were at 19. That's not cute anymore. Right. You know what I mean? It's a whole different thing. So one of the things I wanted to ask you was about you. Are you comfortable in embarking in something, or have you embarked in a relationship or situationship, and have you proven to yourself that you're this new Leon, or do you still see pieces of yourself? And if there is somebody in your life, how do they help you make sure that you don't go down that slippery slope?
Nobody's in my life right now. I want to date. I want to get married eventually soon. I date here and there, but I'm honest up front. You know, like, look, this is the deal. This is who I am. Um,
Mm,
I'm not looking for sex and like that. I just like to hang out and have fun. It could be a carnival. It could be a festival because Chicago has a lot of things to do, food and activities and stuff. So, um, in the past, I would never say, hey, you know what? I would lie in the beginning, make them think that I want a relationship. Then we have sex, and next year I'm pulling back. That was a bad trait of mine. I pulled back. And I'm like, man, what the hell was that about? But I don't want to mislead women. I don't want to go down the same path I went down 30, 40, 30, 35, 40 years. I don't want that anymore.
right.
It leads to nowhere, and it's
Mhm.
wrong. And
Mhm.
so that's why me being on social media, this holds me accountable. The people hold me accountable. The videos hold me accountable. People that I talk to that are honest, like, look, I'm serious about this. Don't play with my emotions, you know?
Right.
And it holds me accountable because I'm like, look, this is what we're doing. Let's go to Panera Bread and get some soup. I'm not going to walk up in the parking lot and put my arm around you. I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you can call it companionship. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but we're just going to eat. I try to keep it simple, but if I see that it's going down the wrong path, I have to stop it and say, look, this is not what I'm trying to do with you. I'm sorry.
Right.
Or it's like 3 dates too late, Leon. You know, you should say that. Well, all right. Then what do? They go to social media, want to call you names and call you out. I don't care about that. But I'm not sleeping with somebody like that and say, you know what? I bought you some soup, so you gave me some buns. I don't even know. I'm not going down that. I don't. But I'm a social person, so naturally I like being around people. I like going places. I like doing things. I just don't like to be alone.
Okay.
I've never been alone, and now I'm alone. It's like I don't want this, but how do I do it without misleading a woman, thinking that she's into a date with me and she's not? We're just going to eat.
Right. We have talked about what type of woman is it going to require to be with you, and do you think she'll ever feel safe loving you because of this continued, I guess, forever narcissist that has claimed to be healing or claimed to be better? Like, and we talked about fair, but before we talk about fair, what type of woman is going to be able to be with an individual like a Leon?
It's gonna be somebody that understands. So she's gonna have to watch me, my patterns, listen to what I say, right? Keep my word. I get angry sometimes, but I don't get like angry, like fired up off the fly off the chain like I was in the military. No, I'm not rude. I'm not a flirtatious dude when I'm with a woman. I definitely don't want to cheat, you know. So she's just got to watch, like she should do with anybody. But I'm different because overtly I'm like up here, you know, highly functioning. They consider us highly intelligent, whatever. She's got to be cautious and careful, but that's just with anybody. So I try to say that so they won't. Not that it makes it. It'll make it easier for her to be with me, but you got to treat me like you would treat somebody that you like and interested in, but is cautious too. Because I have a personality disorder doesn't mean the next guy doesn't have one. That doesn't mean you treat him. He's gonna be easier to figure out. No, or I'm gonna be easy to figure out because you know what the traits are. You just have to be careful, be cautious, be aware, trust but verify.
Do you think you can do it?
Yeah, I know I can do it because I don't. I've never been alone until like after I retired and like my therapist told me to stop dating. I was like, ooh, this don't feel good. But I was dating without any type of intent. I was a serial dater and a serial cheater. And I was like proud of it because I tell them, look, I'm a serial dater. This is what it is. Okay. What you want to do? Okay, Leon. And here we are. Off we go into the sunset. Right. And she come in with a broken heart. I'm still riding into the sunset. Yee-hoo, you know. I don't want to do that anymore because my punishment, my karma, whatever you want to call it, has always been instant. And if I get with a woman, and I mistreat her and I start cheating, I already know. I fear what's coming my way. Before I didn't fear it.
Right.
I get my karma. And I get up and I do something amazing.
And then it erases it or makes it go away. Mm-hmm.
Which
So
is
we talked about you wanting somebody who was fair. We got into it, it was a good discussion. And let's talk about what fair is. And we talked about let's talk about your fair. When you say you want somebody who's fair, what's an example of that?
being fair is treating me accordingly. I treat you accordingly. We are grown people. We don't, like you said, we have respect for people's space.
Mm-hmm.
I don't tell you what to do. I may make a suggestion or advise. Fair, you make suggestions to me or you advise.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a one-way street.
Mm-hmm.
I'm overt, I'm overbearing, I'm cocky, I'm arrogant, all of that. But those traits, I need to make sure I don't impose my will on you. I don't want you to impose your will on me. Just because you say something doesn't make it right. Let's talk about it. And if I like it, we'll do it. But if I don't like it, that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we're going somewhere and I'm shopping, I pick up a shirt, you snatch it out of my hand, all that, you don't need to wear that. You're not my mother. The one thing will turn me off is a woman that's aggressive, controlling, and tries to act like my mother. Okay. Well, I see how you treat your kids. You don't treat them like that. So you know what? We're going to talk about it one time. And if you don't get it right, I'm out. Because you're an adult. You choose to treat me that way. You choose to treat your kids better than you treat me. I'm fair. I don't yell at my kids. I'm not yelling at you. How come you don't yell at your kids? Because it's wrong. So I know that it's wrong to yell at you too. I don't hold things over your head that you told me about in the past. So being fair, being open, being honest, let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So being as that you have had these less than real relationships, all these other up till right now, you've had minus a few years or whatever, but in your Leonism at a high, when you were in there, those relationships can't really count because you basically sent your representative and you had a plan and you were not even present. So do you feel that you're behind now that you're dating right now and you're actually dating as Leon? Do you think you're going to have to go through some things before you can actually realize like, oh, okay, this might be it? And do you think you're going to feel safe when you find it, or are you going to run from it?
Yeah, I'll feel safe. I think that I know that I'm able to do it. I'm able to be fair. I'm able to be Leon. I'm able to be in a healthy relationship because I have to, first of all, I know what I put out there is coming back to me, has come back to me. And when it has come back to me, I'm like, I didn't like it. And it's like, oh, this is what I did to her. Man, is this how that feels? Jesus Christ. I do it now. Women like, Leon, remember when you said this, you did this? I'm like, what? I did what? And now my response is like, oh, why did I do that? Right. I don't know. I'm like, now I feel it. 5 years later, she go, well, yeah, when you were mad at me, you shut down and we were arguing, then you shut down and we pulled up, you went and got some chicken. You sat in a restaurant, you ate the chicken and came outside and gave a bum some chicken. And you needed to ask me if I wanted anything to eat. I'm like, what? I did what? And she said, yeah, we drove for a whole nother hour. You didn't say anything to me. I'm like, I don't remember, Amy, none of that. But I know she's telling the truth.
Right.
And I'm like, how did I get to be so pissed off that I lost my memory? So I hurt myself somewhere mentally. So I don't want that type of response anymore. That scared me because people black out and I went to a place where I don't even remember. How can I not remember? And I did it. And I know I did it. She's telling me the truth and I trust her. But where did it go? I don't remember doing it. She's like, you don't remember it? I'm like, nope. I remember pulling up to the restaurant and that's it. What you're telling me is what I envisioned. I remember and I called out the restaurant. She's like, yeah. And I said, after that, I couldn't tell you what happened. I'm not running from the truth. It's gone. That incident is not there.
Part of that is as a coping mechanism. And it's something I talk to my clients about because you will have a healthy amnesia for things that really they were either too scarring or jarring, or maybe there was some type of life event around that time, and you'll have these blank spots. And that's one of the things I do is I kind of bring them forward for people, and they don't want to see them, but it's important that you get through them. So it's actually good that these people told you a few of these things, because you're actually able to at that point deal with it in a now time. And so you're able to be like, have your emotion, like you said, about it, so that you can be free from it. So it's actually a good thing that you ran into some of that.
Yeah. I don't like the old Leon. He was cool, right? When I was Leon.
Right.
But now I'm looking at like I cheated with next door neighbors, Amy. And I think about it now, this is years ago. I'm like, I can see when it happened. I remember talking to her, and then it happened, and I went about my way. Now I'm like, how? How, bro? How? I couldn't even fathom that now. I can't even fathom being with a woman hugged up and looking at a woman. I would look at a woman right when I was with a woman and be looking, and then she's like, Leon, I'm like, what's up? I would lie. And when I got caught looking at, I'm gonna lie. I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I lied in a woman's face all the time. But I think about it now, I'm like, what was wrong with me? I knew what was wrong with me, but it's like,
right.
I can't imagine doing it now.
So here we are. We're a few years in on this narcissism education, ambassadorship, white flag. Like, this has really been good for people, and it's been good for you, because I think through it you've also got to develop, and you've got to see pieces of yourself through helping other people, which we all do. And so my question to you is, where do we go? I mean, what is your plan to help on a deeper level? Because one of my favorite sayings is heal at the root so that the tree is stable, right? So where are you taking this so that you can catch? What is your plan for this? I mean, you are talking right now, generally, it seems like the masses are women who are enduring life with a narcissist. But where is your teaching going to go on to that? And how do you actually get it to where you're helping beyond just shaking the tree of those who are dealing with it? What are you going to do, Leon?
So what I'm doing now is letting people know that when you're transparent, it's okay to be judged. It hurts, but you're not going to die. It hurts, but you don't have to run away. You can face it. Just because you're transparent and honest doesn't mean that woman's going to leave you. She might come closer to you because you've been lying all these years. Like Leon, I lied for years and didn't have to lie. And now that I'm telling the truth, things are better. I'm better. My relationship is better. She knows if I do something, I'm like, yeah, I did that. I'm sorry. Why did you do it? Because of this, but we can work on moving forward, moving better, getting better. I don't have to be this masculine dude 24/7. That's what my therapist told me. She said, you don't have to be big and bad in my office. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, look at you. You're trying to be so big and bad and tough. Then she said, I'm not going to hurt you. And I was like, okay. Because I was always hurting women, like I mentioned earlier, because I thought they were going to hurt me. That protection.
Right.
I created things in my mind that wasn't even there. And I put it in her mind and thinking that she's going to do it. She never did it, but I did it anyway and blamed her for not doing what I was doing. But I was doing it. And so what I'm going with this now is just showing people, men and women, that you can get over childhood indiscretions, childhood hurt and pain, tragedy. You don't have to be trauma bonded with people. You can change your behavior. You can work on it. You can become better. God didn't create me to be this way. Other people did. I was a product of a broken, dysfunctional environment. I was groomed to be a cheater and a liar and deceiver. I wasn't groomed to be a groom. I had great men in my life. I had great examples. But I chose to be a liar, a deceiver, and a cheater. I chose to get revenge and be vindictive.
Right.
I didn't have to live that way. And you don't either. People don't. You choose to live that way. Oh, your mother was narcissistic. Your dad was an alcoholic. Your mother's a crackhead. So does that really mean that I'm going to be that person? I became narcissistic. Yeah. But I needed more guidance. I needed more education on it. I should have had a therapist when I was 6 years old.
That's what I was going to ask you. At what point do you feel somebody should have went in and grabbed Leon?
6,
And 6.
without a doubt, because I was sexually active.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Um, my emotions were gone. At 8, I was sexually active with my babysitter.
Right.
At 7, I was watching women that were sexually active with men.
Right.
I was being kissed on all the time. I was being touched by my uncle at 10.
Right.
I didn't tell anybody. 90% of the perpetrators is somebody you know or love.
Yes.
80% of the cases, child molestation cases, 80% of cases go unreported.
And that's the other thing I want to bring up. And I know every time we meet, we always talk about this. When you go to your child or your family member, whoever, and you know that something is not right, and you ask them the question, honey, you know you can trust me, tell me what's wrong with you. They are not going to tell you 90% of the time. They're not going to, because they are scared and terrified of the repercussions of telling on a family member. A stranger maybe not as hard unless there's been some threats there, but I'm telling you from somebody who endured it and who was asked about it. I didn't speak on it until I was 15. So you asking, you have to look for the telltale signs. And you and I have discussed a lot of those, where there's the bedwetting, there's the biting on clothes, there's the doing odd things. You know, when I say odd things, it could be things like, you know, you're noticing that their child is cutting different parts of their hair, that they're all of a sudden coming up little cuts that somehow they got hurt. There's so many little things. And with parents being so busy these days, you have, you know, 2-parent homes that are still working around the clock, and they don't know what's going on when they're not there. And we won't make this a whole nother series, because you and I can go on forever about how so many childhood woes are overlooked and how there are actual signs. But when you're asking your kids, please hear me out, because I had a bad situation with a childhood psychologist who I was supposed to trust, and then went on and told the people I was living with everything that they said they wouldn't tell them. And I went and got beat worse. So please, for those of you who have children, who are spending a lot of time with family members, or a lot of time with, maybe you just can't be there for them, watch what's going on with them. Not necessarily what they're saying or what they're
Right.
not saying, because they're not going to come up to you and say, Mom, Uncle Jojo is doing things to me. I mean, okay, maybe in a rare case. And here's the other part. When a child does come to you in confidence, please do not go with the child and confront the person they're accusing. Like, you don't know how many times I've heard somebody say, well, I asked, you know, such and such with my kid, and they said, you know, so I know my kid is lying because my kid wants attention.
Well,
It's just not right. So you guys, please listen to the symptoms. I know many times, look for the signs and the symptoms, and it's not about words. And a child will lie many times, not just for themselves, for safety, but because they love you so much. They don't want to see the family fragmented, or the mom not. Here's another example. For me, it was one of the guys who was doing the molesting. The wife, I was afraid to say something to the wife, because she had lived a life so loveless that she thought this guy loved her so much. And who would I and how would I look like being this little girl to come between their love affair?
right.
So it's a young guilt. And when you're born into a lot of young pain, you mature at a rapid level. Though it may not be the most maturing, you still psychologically start thinking about other people's feelings and how to get out of something, and how to not be the product of pain for somebody else.
Right.
So yeah, this was a good one, Leon. It's always really good. Suicide hotline, I think we gave that yesterday. What was that number again, Leon?
988.
And you can text it or call it. So make
Yeah.
sure that you do that. And anything else you want to say? We've ended this 2 days beautifully. You've been transparent. We've talked about what it's like loving a narcissist. We talked about what it's like on different levels, whether it was you being in an arena where you're getting fed your demons, and how you still have to be responsible for pulling yourself back out of that. That's nobody's job to take away your temptations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times people go, well, they, well, she, well, he. And the truth is, it's a you and you thing. So
Yeah.
anything else you have to say, Leon?
Yeah, you know, just be careful with calling people out. Talk to people. Don't push people around. Be respectful of people's space. Very important. If a person has narcissistic traits, get them help. Don't just call them out and yo narcissist. You know, I get called that now. It's fine, but um, people are afraid to go through therapy. Therapy is beautiful. Therapy is fun.
It is.
It is not fun in the beginning, but when you start learning about yourself, and you start seeing the changes, and you start getting answers.
Mm-hmm.
I got a whole bunch of answers about my mother.
Right.
My mother died in 2013. I was
Mm-hmm.
in therapy in 2014, but I got answers from my mother back in 1978, 79.
Mm-hmm.
I got answers about my dad. I got answers about my cousin in therapy. But a little bitty white lady didn't even know me. And so she the one that took me back to my childhood. So don't be afraid to go back to your childhood. That's where you got to go if you want to
There
start
you
over.
go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing I'll say too, for the sake of those who I did let some of my clients know that we were going live today. And I know they're always, Leon, please let them know that a good therapist, I don't count myself as a therapist. I'm an awareness coach, but a good coach or whatever will give you assignments. Let them know homework is good.
Oh yeah, homework. Oh yeah, because she said, "Hey, okay, Leon, we're done, and your homework today." I'm like, "Homework?
Mhm.
I'm 48 years old."
That's
You
right.
know,
That's right.
yeah, homework. When I didn't do my homework, first thing she asked when I walked into her office, "You do your homework?" I'm like,
Mm,
but see, I liked her, so I was like, "No, I ain't gonna lie," and I feel
mm,
bad. She's like, "Okay, the next week, all right, but homework because you go home and you got to think about what you talk about
right.
that day and reflect and figure it out because now you're not in the setting of a psychiatrist, psychotherapist, but you're at home in front of your TV where you can like,
With
okay,
you.
yeah." She told me to write with you, write a
Mhm.
letter to my brother, but I didn't write the letter to my brother, but I thought about my brother and I start feeling bad and I start understanding. And I'm like, dang, I wasn't processing anything. The
Right.
big thing about therapy is that you process, you let it go. You
Mhm.
hear about it, you see it,
Right.
you face it, you know. I wasn't
Mhm.
facing nothing. But in therapy, I was like, I don't want to talk about my mom. She's like, yes, you are. No, we not. Yes, you are. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about my mother today. All right, let's go, Leanne. The next thing you know, I fell in love with my mother again.
Right. That is so beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. And I'll say this too, that a lot of times people will go, well, why do I got to do all this work? Why do I got to do this? You have practiced being who you are up
Mhm.
till the point you decide to unlearn and unpractice the versions of you that you no longer want to keep. So don't be discouraged. I have clients that I've had for over 2 years. I still have mentorship. I'm not one of those people who feel like I can be a teacher without staying a student. So I'm always evolving. I'm always learning. I'm always growing. And so learning and healing is never linear. And you're never there's I think we talked about this yesterday too. Like there is no I'm done. You don't get to the top of the mountain. You're like, dun, da, da, like, okay, I did all that for this. No, you are constantly evolving. And so you're going to leave here never being done. And I think
Mhm.
that's hard for a lot of people to accept because they're like, well, no, because American Dream told me I have to have the house, the car, the wife, the picket fence, and then, I did it. But then they get there and they go, okay, wait, who am I? Why am I still unhappy? Let me go find some vices. Let me go find something to get into that'll poke me a little bit to let me know I'm still alive. And then things shatter and they're like, why is life so bad? And they keep going through this. So I think when we get to a point of saying, life is forever learning. We're forever learners. We're forever students. The goal is just to get better and better, closer and closer to ourselves, and to love every day in honesty of who we are. Some days are going to be better. Some days maybe not so much, but for the most part, we're okay being with ourselves, our truest self, and nobody teaches that. We go through 12 years of McGraw-Hill or whoever book that they have that year, understanding what they want us to understand, whatever rubric they give us. Then we go to college to do something that maybe we didn't even want to do, but somebody told
Mhm.
us that made good money. And then
Yeah.
from college, we go on into life and try to understand that we know how to be in a relationship or that we know how to be ourselves with different situations. And never once have we went to the therapy, have we went to the mentorship, have we went to the coach, have we went to the library to pick up something that would help us be closer to us. We were not taught that. This world is evolving and it is advancing and feelings are becoming
Fast.
real. We're not stoic people anymore. We're not the Geico cavemen anymore. We're actually using that frontal lobe and we are starting to go fast and go forward. And those who are not willing to touch base with themselves, they're losing themselves in a lot of different things. And so I encourage everybody to stay evolved and involved with who they are And that's all I have for today. Leon?
Yep. Thank you for that, Amy. That was good. Don't be afraid of therapy. It's not taboo. It's not just for you. It's for you to understand somebody that you don't understand. And they may have hurt you, but somebody hurt them.
Mm. Hmm.
And so a lot of times things happen. People don't mean to do it. They do it. And they pay it forward, not meaning to do it, but it happens. So don't just discard people because of their past, because you have a past too. I have a past.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to be forgiving in therapy, and learning how to forgive is what really helped me out too.
And how can we not have a past and be present? You've
Yeah.
got to have somewhere you've been in order to be where you are.
Mhm.
So, yeah, a past is just that. Well, God bless you, Leon. And, I appreciate everything that you've shared. This is his latest book, there you go, The 7 Loveless Traits. You do have some other stuff that you're working on, and so I'll be ready for that one too. Make sure that you pick up his book. There is more than just this book. There's Love Ship. There is also Broken and Keeping Kids Safe from Porn. So I'm going to go ahead and drop you down. If you want to stick around, you can stick around downstairs, and
All right.
Okay. Thank you again.
All right.
Thank you to all of those who have joined today. I know some of this material may have been heavy and it may not have been so everyday or ordinary. I hope that you got something from it. Please remember that you are unique. You are loved. Your presence on this earth makes earth better. It doesn't matter where you've been, what you've been through. If you see yourself as somebody who caused harm or somebody who's dealing with harm from another, you are love at the end of the day. So return to it in the most healthy way and know that your life matters. Make sure that if you need help, you reach out for it. It doesn't make you weird. It's not taboo. We're learning, we're evolving, we're growing, and we're becoming. You can't do it on your own. Life is beautiful. And I hope that you hold on to that and that you remember every day that your life, and I've said this, matters. When it gets hard and you get tired, keep showing up, okay? Make sure you tell yourself at least 2 times a day, I can, I will, and I'm so worth it. Yes, you are. And friends, remember, awareness is power. Until next time.